Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are trying to be cool but rude, playing this card from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. As I just stated, it is cool but rude because it is a very tricky card. Whenever you attack, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. We know a lot of rummaging is kind of bad in comparison to draw a card then discard, so it is a bit negative there. But the second mode, as you all know from Monument, but it is repeatable, so it does get the game over much quicker. Whenever you discard a card, this class deals 2 damage to each opponent, which is awesome. And then there's a 2-mana tutor on the bottom, which is a gamble. If you know what that is as a commander player, you might know. But gamble is 1 mana, this is 2 mana. We search our library for any card and put it in our hand and then discard one at random, which then also triggers cool but rude. But this combos very, very well with Casey Jones Vigilante. I do think this card overall is bad and is only going to be playable in a deck like this. But when it enters, draw 3 cards at the beginning of your next upkeep, discard 3 cards at random. At one point in one of these games, we have 2 of these online, which KC then would allow us to discard 3, making each our cool but rudes deal 6 damage apiece, which will obviously put them down 12 life. And then we had a massive board to go along with that because we have a lot of cheap stuff to be playing. With the kind of Moon Shadow that's grown in popularity, is one of the cooler cards to come out in Standard in a while. Mako, which is pretty sweet. Fear, NT as well, and then Blood Gas to top it all off. The rest is kind of removal, kind of supporting pieces, along with the Phoenix just being a good solid discard outlet to bring back later, which you can always kind of meet as clause of the power 4 or greater. This got 8th in the Spotlight series, I believe, unless those records were wrong and it just happened to place higher than that, but I saw it at 8th. So we're playing that list. That is a best of 3 deck list, but we will be playing it in best of 1. Other than that, I'm still moving into the house. I got to set up the gas and stuff tomorrow, and then the internet the next day, and then the water the next day. So I'll be pretty busy with that over the next couple of days. I'm trying really, really hard to get it set up so I can get back to consistent uploads, but it just feels like every time I do, something comes up and I just don't have time to do it, and that really sucks. But with that, let's dive into the games. All right, well, I mean, it feels like a keep, right? Probably just go ahead and shock this in. Play Mako, maybe play. Or we can just use Starting Town. Play Shock. I find a basic Swamp. So I can go 1, 2. Yeah, I can just do it that way, maybe. I mean, realistically, we'll probably do NT if I had to choose, but most likely this is gone based on the shocked Blood Crypt. Sure. Maybe in the mirror? I don't know. It's interesting. Feels like the mirror. Mirror adjacent. I guess we set up NT. Then we go for a Blood Gas kind of situation here. Sure. Okay. I feel like you should always wait on these because if they rip like a creature they want to discard to, kind of want to do that in the first place. No blocks. I like my value too. Sure. This will have Trample here. They have 1 more card left, and they didn't even play a land to bring those back, so it always feels a little weird there. But I don't know what's happening with Arena, but sure. That is Trample, so the block doesn't necessarily feel that great, I think. And they don't block regardless. This can technically block itself, so I think I could just let this land go, though, because I don't really want to take more damage against another aggro matchup here. I can play this before combat, so I can have this come back, but it'll be 1 short, so maybe we wait. Because at the beginning of each, at the beginning of, how about on your turn? Okay. Because the idea is to block here, right? And then force a discard. Just use this as a chump block for the time being. Well, they play 1-2. I'm down to 12. I can race a little bit here. Not all too well, especially with that land draw. Could mayhem this. Doesn't seem that bad. Does it come back tapped? Return target crew graveyard. Okay. It just returns it. Sweet. So let's go to combat. Let's attack here. Hold NT back because they're empty-handed, so there's no reason to kind of overcommit here. And I don't really want to use this multiversal passage. Okay, sweet. It's actually got good value to it. I could have done this, but we can also still do it. Let's play it. Let's activate here. Discard a card. Equip here. Discarding this. Alright, awesome. Just kind of coming together here. So we could get rid of the Stalker, which makes sense. And then we can just play here. Take a little more damage, but now we got really good blockers. And I'm going to bring back the Mako. And the reason I want to bring back Mako is because of the fact that I can pay to return this turn. I don't really have to kind of overcommit with that. Although I guess Mako will die, but I think Mako's blocking anyway. Good game? Yeah. I don't know how they beat that. I think they got a little aggressive with these, especially knowing that they didn't have a land in hand. It seems a bit aggressive. Unfortunately, they never found another one, which that just kind of sucks in general. I mean, they're 10 cards deep on 2 lands. We're 14 deep on 4. So, I mean, it was coming soon, I would imagine. But we had the NT online, and it kind of helped dig through it. But we actually had a lot of lands. We had 6. So, who's to really know? Opponents first. We have a cool card to play. I kind of want to play this Post-Fear. Our hand's a little bit worse because obviously we're on the draw, but can't win them all that way. Just another mirror. Okay. Another mirror, I say. We go here, we play Fear. Then we get rid of what? Honestly, I guess for right now, it's just a Blood Gas, right? What else would it really be? Another land. We could attempt to block, but obviously that doesn't make a lot of sense, so I'm not going to do that. We'll see what happens. Attacked by a ladybug. Blood Gas, play land, so they're already better off than what our previous opponent was. We can kind of chump block that all day. Don't really have to do much. Otherwise, a lot of lands, not a lot of action. We could just get the opposite game. But we're going to do something pretty sweet here. We're going to go to second main. Might pop this with the Helix card, but let's go here. Turn to Blood Gas. Although it can't really do much. I guess I could attack with it next turn with our Cool But Rude. And maybe these alone can help bridge this gap here. So right now, the gap is leaning pretty heavily in their favor. We have block here and then block here. We do the Phoenix here because we can obviously bring that card back. Where Blood Gas will have to come back a different way. If they keep playing land to bring this one back, then sure, so be it. But we just kind of have to weather the storm here like we did with the last game. And then really rely on these, I think, to get through. So maybe Fear misses. A Torch the Tower, I think I've seen some lists playing. Fire Magic, sure. That's indestructible, so that stays. Pretty good play overall. I'm not going to play around Fire Magic personally. I don't know if they play it or... To be honest, I'm not even entirely sure the list I imported plays it or not. It feels lost, to be honest with you. Go here. Bring back the Blood Gas. Doesn't really do us any good. Go here. Go second main again. Play the Phoenix. Card one of these. Pass. Means that we can kind of jump here, I guess. A big attack. You can grow this. They can grow this by 3, but at least I trade, I guess. That's the route they take, but then they have no more action with that card. Then it just feels pretty okay. But obviously that implies I'll draw something decent here. Down to 12, so these almost have haste. Okay, so we can do this. Go Mako here. Let's go cool but rude. When you attack, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. Obviously, this is going to attack. Or discard here. Put a counter on Mako, which is pretty good. Then I think I'm going to go ahead and discard a card here and equip this. Actually, yeah. That's what we want to do. That puts it up to a 5/4. Now this can't actually attack me. Obviously, if they rip the card that kills this, then, you know, GG's, good game. We go next. But fortunately enough, it looks like they didn't right away. Could take the 50-50 shot here. Why not? Actually, is it a 50-50 shot? It is, I guess. Actually, let's do this. Grab this card. Oh, we discarded the land. Brutal. Combat. Yeah, I was hoping maybe if I had the land, I'd be good here, but unfortunately I don't. Card the other one. Okay. Pretty good card. Holding this guy back. Ready to go. I feel like this card's a dud. I don't know what else they'd be holding it for. But they just did nothing that turn with it. Cool but rude. That's pretty good. They're activating as well. Trying to kind of get to the same boat we are. Obviously, we're absorbing this. There's just 0 chance we're not. Another ink shield, sure. These have haste now, but we definitely block. That's a pretty good hit here. Combat, I think. Once we hit combat, remember the 2 phoenixes in our yard, or 3 phoenixes in our yard. Holy, I forgot that there was 3 in there. I just thought for some reason the other one triggered twice. But yeah, here's 3 birds. And these birds you cannot change. I don't know if anybody knows that song. Free Bird, the 35-minute long song. So now we just double pop here. This grows larger. They feel like they have to block. And then I can just quit it here. Maybe they'll react. Oh, they already discarded it. Don't be dumb. I know it has indestructible now, but we just wait. And then we end turn. And then on their upkeep, we pop it. Not that it really matters. I don't think they had a lot going for them again, but we slowed it down and won that game as well, which is pretty nice. And we'll take that. All right, going first. This hand's pretty sick, actually. We get to go, like... Honestly, it's probably just Blood Crypt. Because we're going to take 2 off this anyway, but we take 3 if we do it the opposite way. Then play a Moon Shadow because of the Menace. And then we go cool but rude. Attack, discarding this, and then maybe double Marauder. Beavis. Be a bit tough. We have to be very quick. All right, well maybe now with that play, it's just second Moon Shadow Mako. Down to 16. Obviously not the greatest. Whatever they ninjutsu in here. Gonna be bad, but our menace creatures should be good. Or sneak in. I guess technically sneak is different than ninjutsu, but we'll see. It could double block one of these, but if they're double block and I take them out, then great, right? That's what it comes down to. A lot of flyers. This could be the mill deck, I guess, now that I think about it. Over here. It's in there. Let's get rid of blood gas for now. I could see a double block on a Moon Shadow here, plus a block on the Mako, especially if they are the mill deck. A double block on Mako seems crazy. Not the creatures that... Okay, there we go. Like, not double blocking the creatures with Menace seems a little bit wild to me, but... Oh. I think I just pump everything out here. No way to really discard this right now to trigger Mako to be big enough that I could pay one for this. Is that the fourth copy? No, it's the third copy. Just the fourth one drop they've played. Which is fair enough. Menace creature probably going to be a bit too much here. Unless they obviously have Helix. Okay. What about the fifth one drop flyer, bro? What about it? Actually, I think this works out. So we go discard a card. We pop... I don't know, any of them at random, I guess. Card this. Or board. The combat. Auto pay here and just send in the whole team. Obviously, we'd love for this to be upgraded. That's going to be our path forward. Upgrading this, even if they board wipe. If I can find some discard outlets, we can obviously close out the game that way. And now with their life total with this, Bloodghast, they're actually like coming back with haste if it's ever relevant. But I don't think I know of a 4-mana board wipe right now. And there's the Hex. It obviously would be good for a lot of things. Here. 2 mana, no real way to, I think, answer my board. Get in there. Here are a lot of things. Sure. Still have 2 on top of this, and everything is 2 minimum, so even a block doesn't save you here. I do think they are the mill deck. I think it's the one with sneak. Whenever they attack with a 1-drop, they're going to sneak it in for 2. And then they're going to mill me for half my library. But unfortunately, they're just not able to do that. Because 1, miss land drop, even though it's only 2 mana. But that was, like, I mean, they had the flyers, right? They had all the tries. They kept on top a couple of times. So, who's to know? First again here is pretty nice. I think we're going to end up having to shock this in regardless. So, let's keep it up. Go shock Mako. A little part of me thinks that I want to get this online as quickly as possible. I know like Fear is obviously pretty awesome, but the value that this provides seems so good. Maybe it's mono green here. Definitely means I'm going to have to kind of get it online that way. So let's play this down. Get an attack in. Let's discard the Phoenix. Try to find lands. Another cool. But with that, I do want to talk about some things. I think tomorrow, which will be a little bit different. It's obviously not going to be tomorrow for everybody. But tomorrow for me anyway, I think I'm going to try... Am I dead if a... One second. Bristly Bill... Land, go to 2, double to 4. Crack land, go to 5, double to 10. I don't know. If I'm dead next turn, I'm dead next turn. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes you just gotta play to it. If I'm big dead, I'm big dead. And I think if I'm going to attack, I want to do as much damage as possible here. Could have a fight spell, I guess. But combat, Phoenix, unlikely to pay this turn. Second flail can go, though. Well, maybe I should have done that first instead of playing that, but I felt like it was fine. I can set them to 6, but unfortunately that's not going to be enough. The fetch land does come in tapped if it is one. I don't feel like I'm dead here because I was on the play, but maybe I'm wrong. I actually just don't know how many 2-drops into land that they could play that really gets me. Yeah, so they play land, goes to double, goes to Traveling Chocobo for blocks. NT's pretty solid here because obviously this Traveling Chocobo is going to have to block. Move to combat. I'm going to... Yeah, because this is 3 and this is only 2. I'm going to decline it. Attack. Discard Fear. That's fine. I would like to decline that. Oh, wait, it's trample. It's lethal. Duh. For the Venti. Oops. Nice. But I think I'm going to try to vlog a Riftbound tournament I'm going to tomorrow, where I kind of just show kind of the daily routine, some of our prep games and stuff like that. I know I'm mainly a Magic person, but we're going to go support a local store by going and playing and seeing if we can't win some promos. So I'll talk about it a bit more in the next game. Okay, we have Casey, which is cool. We have removal. So we're going to try to keep this, just see what happens here. Let's go Moonshadow into cool, I think. I'm going to have to shock this regardless. Kind of the most upside, but it looks like a Hex is coming. But yeah, I think I'm going to go to a Riftbound event, and I think I want to record it like I said previously. I just kind of restating myself because I never know what happens whenever I get to the editing process at some point. But with that, I'm going to have a couple friends there as well, so we're going to get to see how well that goes overall. Obviously, it can go really poorly or it can go really well. I'm just going to level this up against the mono black deck and just sit here. I don't know if they could have Feed the Swarm, I guess. The card I can think of off the top of my head, but this needed red to upgrade, so it's not like I could do much. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes, to be honest. Realistically, am I concerned? Not really. I think the video will be kind of bad, to be 100% honest with you. I don't think I'm going to probably do that well on it. Because, you know, when you try something new, it's going to be like some bumps and bruises. Obviously, I'm going to forget to record a certain part, or I'm going to feel really awkward. Like, I just know ahead of time, like I can talk about it now. Kind of that introvert in me where I just think about all the stuff, right? But I'll be weird to ask people to give their thoughts on the game and stuff like that, you know. Strategic Betrayal was an interesting way for that turn to kind of get me out. But let's search for a land, I guess. I think I can search for anything, I believe, and it's discard at random, so hopefully my land here doesn't get discarded. All right, not a full gamble, you know. Go here. Play it slow. If we level this up and this resolves, that the 3 discard at random at upkeep is going to be 12 damage. So I don't necessarily feel all too concerned. I do think I want to go here. Then I just might as well upgrade this last part. Unfortunately, Casey is kind of the card I want to keep in my hand. Could I just get another one? Guess so. All right, sweet. I didn't miss, so that's 4 damage, and now they're staring at lethal. Or at least, like, in a turn or two. I can technically play Casey, discard my whole hand at random. Destroy all creatures, sure. What's this next one? Choose a card name, search target opponent's graveyard and hand, library for 4 cards in the name, and exile them, and then player shuffles, sure. Let's do Casey here. I think we could just win here, actually. We go here, and then this is 6 cards, so 4, 8. Yeah, I mean, they're just super dead, right? Card. So it's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Wow, what a game. But yeah, it'll be weird. It'll just be a weird thing to do. It'll be weird to ask my friends to be like, how do you like in Riftbound? Like, what's different between it and Magic and stuff? Almost like an interviewer kind of thing, but I don't want to really put them on the spot. Obviously, they're going to be consenting to it, whether they like it or not. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's a cool way to win this game, though. You know, pretty exciting. Cool, but rude. Typically, we never win this matchup, but this card just makes it really easy, so that's kind of crazy. Okay, well, a quick 5-1, I believe. I did lose one match where it was just like turn 1 interaction, turn 2 interaction, turn 3 put Arden in the graveyard, and turn 4 reanimate Arden, and I could not beat that. So I just kind of removed it. It was just literally less than a minute of a game. But the deck's solid, especially even in best of 1. It did obviously feel a bit dicey at times. We had to play it a bit weird because we were in a mirror, and I do think the weird Casey play is actually good, even though I think this card generically is like really, really bad. It just works really well if you have this card online and something weird like the flail that can discard and make like all that value happen. Because obviously, even if we didn't have the flail there, we had 6 cards in our hand, and that last card would have searched for a random card. Every card in our hand, I believe, was literally different, so that's kind of cool. And then, cool, but rude, we would have discarded 3 at random, and then these would have triggered 3 times a piece. And then there was 2 of them, so that would have dealt, obviously, 6 damage to 12 damage, and that was going to be enough for lethal based on our opponent's life total, which is obviously really good. That makes us feel a little bit better about this deck. I do think this deck is sweet and does take a lot of practice. I did, fortunately enough, I don't want to say, like, I got a little lucky because I feel like we played it fine, but I did feel like the decisions were kind of made for us, and I didn't have too many conflicting decisions to make like it can be in some games. But I think this deck will reward you the better you are in the hands that you know that you can and cannot keep, which is oftentimes the hardest part about a deck. But as you can see, the crafting guide, it is a bit expensive. There's a lot of rares and 4 mythics. At least the mythic slot's not that bad. But Casey will probably not be played in any other deck. This is cool, but you could probably cut it, although best of 1 constantly puts it in your hand. But I would argue you can maybe just play like another Fear of Missing Out, or in best of 1, maybe play another Bitter Triumph or something like that if you don't really want to craft this, especially if you don't want that extra rare. But if you've been playing Rakdos type decks for a while, you probably have the Fears. You might have NT, which NT at 3 of is probably the most I'd play, and then Bloodghast is kind of a must in this deck along with the Flame Wake. The Absolutes are definitely cool but rude. And then Moonshadow feels like one because obviously the fact that this dies every turn you play it just goes to show how big of a threat it is. That's how it's supposed to work. If you know to know your card is good is the fact that as soon as it is on the battlefield, by all means they will remove it when they can, because it can just get too big too fast and get too much value by just random things hitting the graveyard. But this card alone, I think, really makes this deck an archetype, and it is very, very strong, and that's just what it is. Either way, I will try to do the vlog thing I talked about. It might fail, it might not. I don't know. I do think the video is going to be bad. I don't want to kind of put that notion out there to be like, oh, he said it was going to be bad, so when I'm watching it, I'm expecting it to be bad. I hope it's a fun experience and it's fine. I do have a weird degree in editing, so I might be able to pull that out, although it's been like a while since I've done something like that. Magic content's pretty, I don't want to say cut and dry, because there's stuff you do cut out and leave and stuff like that, but it is really just match to match, and it's not much other than that. For example, most of my editing's done before I even play, because I hit record at every single game, and I cut in and cut out where there's recordings are, which makes it a lot easier, so I can just kind of do it easier that way. But with that, if it is a success and people enjoy it, even if the first video of it doesn't do all too well, I do the Magic cons and I work them, so I think that would be a pretty fun experience in general to kind of film that when, you know, we're getting ready, like all the prep work we do, and then the flight. Obviously, everybody's got to show the plane taking off. you know how it is. But the flight and then getting there and then setting up the booth. The booth's going to be really cool this year. I don't want to say too many details because if you're going, I want the booth to kind of be a surprise, which is awesome. But I'll obviously be working the Ultimate Guard booth as I have been if you've been here for a while. So that's very exciting because obviously they're partnered with Wizards, and this will be the first time I think I've worked their booth as a kind of partner with Wizards in that regard. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be very exciting. But this deck, big old A+ on it. Maybe not S tier. There's a lot of decks that are S tier, but this deck feels like an A, at least in the couple games I played. Besides the one where I just got absolutely slammed and just it wasn't even a game, so I had to cut it. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.